Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tal'Daram Altar, and this game right here between New Star Hoso's Jjakji. He is in the blue trunks and he is playing Terran to the northwest, versus his opponent, it is ZX Life in the orange trunks playing Zerg to the northeast.
And one of the most beautiful things here about foreign tournaments that, of course, are open tournaments or invited or qualifying tournaments, we do have, not even Code A quality right now because, of course, we did see Life just drop down from Code A in 2012, but he's now facing up against Code S, and that doesn't happen very often, especially in Korea, and it's really nice for the lower player to go ahead and say, hey, I want to play against Code A. I think I'm Code S level, but I don't ever get the chance because to go through Code B, Code A, and to Code S is very, very difficult.
Yeah,
so this is a great opportunity for Life here to actually go ahead and say, hey, I'm actually on the same skill level as this guy, if not better, in his opinion.
Well, there's a lot of debate that always goes around Code S, Code A, and of course the mythical Code B, which for those who don't know, that doesn't exist. That just is a colloquial term used for those who are not in Code S or Code A. And the debate really goes, is there really that much of a difference in skill level? And more often than not, people say, well, no, especially not between Code S and Code A, and there are plenty of these really dangerous, hungry Code B guys that can take wins off players of that caliber.
Yeah, they can. And once you're in Code S, sometimes it's actually easier to stay in there than it is to get there in the first place. The hard work usually is to get in there because a lot of the times in Code A, when you actually do manage to, or even before Code A, you're playing for the Code A qualifiers, and sometimes you do get proper GSL players dropping down there, and maybe your last game to decide if you're in Code A or not is against, a really, really good player, or your first game in Code A is against a fantastic player, so it is very, very difficult. We do see a very standard, of course, hatchery first against Terran into extractor, then spawning pool, so you can get the gas out for the speed, nice and fast. We do not see any gas taker for Jjakji though, so looks like he's going to be going for this one barracks expansion play. Can be dangerous actually against any mid-game aggression, but he will be, of course, preparing for that for sure.
Yeah, certainly, and he's going to scout off here. Now, before we go on, we should be absolutely clear and transparent about this. So, this game was played pre-patch. Yeah, the replays are pre-patch. The vast majority of the games in this tournament have not been, but this one in particular was. As to why that is, it usually comes down to scheduling. You've got 20 international players from 3 continents trying to coordinate in a tournament that's actually played over a fairly short period of time considering the amount of games that have to be done. So every now and again, some of these games end up being kind of old. And this one is pre-patch. So, bearing in mind we're on Tal'Daram Altar, we may see Broodlords, we may see Ghosts. Don't freak out. So, we're just making it obvious to you right there that that might happen.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, that change isn't going to take away too much from the skill to actually get up there in the first place.
Not.
So, the Ghost may be now the counter to everything late game for Jjakji, but, can he get there in the first place? And we'll see how that does play into this game. But we do see double gas taken immediately after this one barracks expansion, which is very normal, so we can go into the factory, or as soon as he hits 100 gas, then into reactor Hellions, as he does want some control of the game, doesn't want to just give away the map early on to a Zerg player, because then it really does get difficult as your push is spotted and can be stopped by just creep alone, really, as the engagements are so much easier.
Yeah, and he did try and just prevent a little bit there. He didn't really succeed in doing all that much. He kills off a couple of lanes here and then, actually gets out with all of his guys intact, including that SCV that was no doubt feeling rather fortunate considering it had been sent to its doom at the hands of a pack of Zerglings, but there you go. Jjakji now with his orbital command being established on his natural and looking to get this factory, which is, well, he may swap over and go to Hellion from here.
Yeah, he should be. We do see a drone though coming down in the bottom right to a hidden expansion coming out here for Life, so that's and of course a risk, but a calculated risk, because nobody's really going to scout down here at this stage of the game.
Yeah, why would you?
Hellions are going to be staying outside the natural, and if it doesn't get spotted going down there, I don't think Jjakji's even going to notice this, which is going to be actually really, really good for Life and give him a fantastic edge and advantage in the mid game.
Yeah, my concern being that Jjakji gets a bit paranoid when he thinks, right, well, where's the third? Why have you not done that? Maybe Jjakji then mind games himself into thinking, oh, it's 2 base muter or whatever, and builds to counter that. But as you said, there's no reason for them to be down there. They are at the top, so any drops will come over here. They're not going to go all the way round. There's no point. So, yeah, this is a nice little move. Risky, but you know what? I like players that take gambles. I really do. If you play safe all the time, then, quite frankly, the games aren't necessarily all that entertaining.
Absolutely, yeah. And the thing is, though, that this is actually really nice for Life because he knows the positions he's in. It's actually really difficult to establish up bases because, yeah, granted he can take that north one with the rocks, but where's he going to take a fourth base? Because he's going to have to swing around to the back right side of this base. And hold that thought, though. Hellions do come in, but we won't really be able to achieve anything here, I don't think.
No, not with the Spine Crawler coming up there. He did take out the Creep Tumor. It actually ended up getting shot and caught in the crossfire between these queens and that. But no, you're right. He doesn't really achieve all that much. He did force Life to pull back those lings because he didn't want to be caught out of position on these rocks. But now he'll start working through those again. And he could try and maybe just establish another base there. And he even actually has a ling just hanging around, just trying to spot any kind of third coming in from Jjakji at the moment, who is playing fairly defensively. He has gained map control as a result of these Hellions, but Jjakji doesn't know about that base down to the bottom there. We've got Lair coming out and Baneling Nest, as well as the double evolution chamber style.
Yeah, and this is very nice for Life, as I keep saying. And the gases are the biggest thing in the world here, because if he wants to play against, or wants to use high-tech units, he needs gases, and the Sentizel Nogatar is going to be so important here for Jjakji to hold, and he will want to hold this. Slings are getting melted down, but doesn't lose too many. The problem is if he hadn't have taken this bottom right expansion, he would have been limited to only 3 bases for the entire of the game long, because Jjakji won't let him take a 4th base. So this is why this risk in the bottom right is going to pay off so incredibly well. He's going to be able to go to 2-2 easy, infest is easy, and Jakji's play seems very, very standard so far. Starting his tank production now after that 3rd base has been planted down inside his main.
Yeah, and the push coming in from Jjakji, I think, should be repelled pretty easily. I mean, there's plenty of creep spread around this area. He's got queens, he's got a spine crawler up there as well, so I don't anticipate a huge amount of damage here, but he could split off, and that's what he looks to be doing here to try and drop into the natural. That's been spotted there, so Life now moving into an interception position, but Jjakji is able to deploy nonetheless and can actually provide supporting fire from the back right there. So with that many Hellions and Marines, he's going to lose a lot of lings to actually drive this away.
Yeah, Queens are targeted down the Medivacs here, of course, given the sight range, and as soon as the Medivac's gone, he can kill what's on top, and we'll be able to push this back easily.
Yeah, Baneling Detonation goes off there as well. Another elevation here from Jjakji, just straight back in there to continue this pressure on the natural. It's a nice little maneuver, really, considering he knows he's up against Ling. He is going to make Life pay for every single unit that goes down. Good position there, unfortunately nullified by the fact that Banelings got into the center and broke their way through there. So there's the defense there by Life. As to what he lost, not a huge amount. Only 4 workers actually went down in total, and that's including the drone that died up near the 3rd for Jjakji, so not a great push there.
Yeah, that was actually really good defense there. The Infestation Pit coming down as well as 2 upgrades, and he's now taking gas from that bottom right hidden expansion, as well as establishing the 4th or 3rd base, whichever you look at it, at the north side now. Viking doing a bit of damage around, but now the 3rd base is coming down for Jjakji. Jjakji will want to push out surely. It is going to be slowed down because of the amount of units he lost on that natural, but soon he will want to just hold the Zelnogatar and actually use that as his reinforcement point to actually swing to drop from.
Yeah, and then you can start to try and pull apart the Zerg player. The problem is that the Ling Infester style is really nice against dropping. It's absolutely fantastic, especially if you've got good creep spread. Because you get in this awkward spot where there'll probably be Lings underneath your drop, and even if there aren't, then you can get caught on the way by Infestors. So it's pretty horrible to actually go up against.
Yeah, Infestors with Queens, Infested Terrans, and yeah, it's going to be shut down really easy. A lack of creep spread between main and natural, though, that's a bit worrying, because Infestors, if dropped right in the main base, may not be able to get back in time before damage is done. We do see a drop, though, coming to the 3rd base, but with Lings already out and established, this is going to have to be picked up and taken away.
Yeah, Jjakji actually just let that die as well, which is very confusing, and there was no reason to do that.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake there, but he has established his third base up. Bunker with 4 Marines inside, so Ling run-bys won't work to that base now. It's like a planetary fortress in a way, as he can easily repair into the bunker and push any amount of Lings back, but Bailing still could do damage there. But now he's moving out to take this Xel'Naga tower where he can start to siege up, scan, get rid of creep tumors, and start to, be like, alright, let's run to his third, let's drop on his natural, and start to control the flow of the game.
Yeah, however, lots of Infestors and Banelings being added on. +2/+2 is about to finish for Life here, whereas upgrade count for Jjakji is nowhere near that. He's only just started his +2 weapon upgrade, doesn't have armor at all, which against +2 Lings, that's a fairly critical upgrade.
Yes, it is, and if he attacks straight up into the natural area, he will get shut down. Lings and Infestors will shut this down, but as long as he just plays slow and calm and patient on this area, he should be fine. We do have Lings, though, running across the map from this bottom right expansion. Gonna kill these 2 Marines. May try to run to the third base, but as we already said, that's quite fortified.
Yeah, it should be shut down. It's an interesting opportunity there, but it may even... I think Jjakji's getting a little bit suspicious at this stage. Like, well, why would those Lings be there? I've got a good contain. Where were they? Why were they there? He may be thinking to himself that there's something hidden there, so there is a risk. And Infestor's now moving. He's just going to charge through this. It's a nice spread there by Jjakji, but there are, of course, a lot of Fungals to finish this off, and there comes the surround, crushes through the tanks without too much of a problem, and is going for this fortified position. Does he have enough Lings? Well, he thinks no.
No, I think he could have overrun that, actually, but he doesn't know what's on the higher ground, unfortunately. He has no vision whatsoever. But yeah, Jjakji's probably feeling amazing right now. He's like, alright, I'm on 3 base, he's on 3 base. Does Jjakji know? He hasn't scanned the main, so he doesn't know about the hive being done. But he feels this is just a regular 3 base up to hive kind of play. And as long as he just keeps this containment outside of this natural area, he's actually in an amazing position here. And I can actually freely take his 4th base, which he already has done unbuilt. But this is... he needs to know about this 3rd base. He needs to send a Marine down or anything, just to scout around.
Life is going ultras. And it makes sense considering it's a good transition. It's a very natural transition out of the Ling Infestor style, because you'll already have the +3/+3, and then you just add the chitinous plating upgrade, and suddenly your army becomes monstrous. We've got a flank here by Life. He takes control of these Xel'Naga towers. He may be able to come in from the back, or he could just run right at the natural, which is a little bit vulnerable, actually, to being hit here, especially with a few Banelings here and there. Goes up and just picks off a couple of units, doesn't overcommit to it.
No, he doesn't, and it is going to get shut down. Still could morph a bunch of Banelings and go to the 3rd base, but that's gas that he may not want to use. Is, like you said, going Ultralisks and
needs Ultra,
researching 3-3-2. And Jjakji now looks like he's loaded up a drop as well, so he's going to start to do that. But when Ultralisks come out, he may actually try to push this. May wait for the +3 upgrades to finish before going, but soon he has to break this containment. I mean, it's all good and happy that he's on 4 bases, but realistically, he wants to get rid of this Xel'Naga tower coverage that Jjakji has.
Yeah, because otherwise flanking attacks are going to be very, very difficult, and the siege tanks are going to have an absolute field day. Still has this flanking force just moving around to the bottom here. Both these guys pretty much almost maxed out. Jjakji is, whereas Life will be fairly soon once the Ultralisks come out and the second round of units come in. Life tries to get in there, do a little bit of damage. He's not able to do so because the positioning of the tanks here for Jjakji is amazing. He is fully utilizing all of these cliff edges. Attacking this position is very, very difficult. And look at the way that everything is spread out.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for him, but we'll see how many Infestors and Ultras. 5 more about to come out, so he may have enough. Lings have escaped again here and are actually being morphed into Banelings in that position there, so whether he's going to just launch himself at that planetary fortress, whether he'll go up to the 3rd base, we'll have to see, or maybe could even flank and come from behind here to sandwich this army on top of the hill at the Xel'Naga tower. But the +3 upgrades are now about to finish, as well as the chitinous, I think we established that word as chitinous. Upgrade plating. So, chitinous, however you want to say it, chitinous is going to come now and be completed also. So this is a very, very powerful Zerg army here, which Jjakji has no idea about the strength of it.
Yeah, this rock-hard armor plating upgrade, which I will now use. And Infested Terran's been laid down, and he really is assaulting Fort Knox here. But with Ultralisks in the mix, he may be able to do just that. He goes in just at the right time. We've got a couple of Ghost Academies coming down to try and deal with this. He's trying to overrun it, but these tanks are so well positioned. This attack is faltering pretty badly.
But there's a big counterattack of Ling, and Bailing's into the natural here, and he's going to lose a lot of SCVs. I have no idea why Bailing's blowing up the supply depot and tech labs and reactors. That's really, really bad, but still, damage is being done, and Jjakji may actually just have to return with everything. And by the way, that bottom expansion has been scouted by a single Marine now, and Jjakji knows what's up.
Yes, he does, and the question is, does he actually swing out to deal with that? Because this is another attack, and while Jjakji's positioning is so good, he will eventually be overrun by this, and has also taken some damage. Now, as he said, the Banelings did detonate on supply depots and reactors, but this is also going to slow down Jjakji's reinforcements, and this might prove critical as this attack once again goes into the natural.
And it looks like he will be able to clean this up now. His army's actually returned back, but he is going to take a bit of damage here. Plus 3-3 is soon to be finished for these Marines, and they will make short work of these Lings and Banelings here. But the most worrying thing here is still 4 base versus 4 base, equal bases. Zerg should always be ahead in bases.
Yeah, that's true, and that advantage for life is going to... 2 nuclear missiles coming down for Jjakji at the moment. A very curious decision to pick those up. Very effective, of course, if you can land them. Good way of clearing Ultralisks out, but potentially risky. We've also got a Spire coming in from Life, who may look to transition out of this build into Broodlords at some point.
Yeah, it looks like it. An SCV train of about 6 or 7 get picked up on their way to this 4th base here. Ultras could actually tear this down if he concentrates on it. The SCVs will get splash damage and killed, but we'll see. He's just going to back off? That's weird.
Yeah, it is. He's actually going to try and deal with this. Yeah, I don't really rate this attack, though. I mean, Jjakji should be able to kite these Ultras no problem and actually annihilate them, and is able to do just that. Picks up another. A Fungal comes in. A very nice grab. Does he have another Fungal to follow it up? It's just such a shame that he didn't. He could have done some severe damage with that. A few Ultras go down. The rest are now heading back to base.
And we've finally seen Live pick up a 5th base here for the first time. Of course, he really needs it, though. His main base is mined out. Natural soon to be. And yeah. We, like I said, 4 bases of Jjakji who can actually build new command centers and just pick them up and drop them in the bottom left of this base. So that will be his economy plan. The Greater Spy now coming down, and Corruptors are coming out. So I suppose we will be seeing the old Ghost coming out shortly, as he has to deal with this somehow. And well, yeah. If I had a time machine and I went back, that's exactly what I'd be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what I'd be doing. The thing is that when Life played this game, he also knew about that threat. So it's not like this is going to come as a surprise to him. The nukes might, and it's a very interesting thing to actually decide to do. The question is, where will he go with it? Well, there's a medevac drop coming out to the 5th base with 4 Marauders there. They may be able to smash their way through that hatchery, especially with the army now out of position, but they are moving back in that direction. Maybe they get the interception there. Life might even look to take another base down here, but he's going to have to try and take the entire east side of the map, which is awkward to say the least. It's very, very spread out.
4 Marauders in about 20 seconds or less will actually kill that hatchery, and oh dear god, the Lings aren't going to get there in time.
Oh, I don't know, he might, but yeah, they are well upgraded, so no, it's down. And I also don't think he's got the Adrenal Glands upgrade, which is a tut-tut moment, I think, for Xenix Life, unfortunately.
No, he doesn't, unfortunately, there. But once again, another containment has been set up here by Jjakji, and this is getting really difficult because, yeah, great, you know, that hidden base, yeah, that helped you for 25 minutes in this game. Now what you're going to do when your main is mined out, your natural is being assaulted, this is actually really bad for for Life, sorry.
And Jjakji, once again, has got great positioning on everything here. He really, really does. That's the grim thing about it. Those nukes have not been deployed yet. He doesn't really feel the need to. He'll be able to deploy them as a clutch attack at some point, or maybe just even keep them in reserve. This natural taking more pounding, the attack will eventually be cleared up, but you've still got to attack into this, and Jjakji spreads his forces out so well all the time, I've noticed. He always gets really great tank positioning, and he will spread an army across an entire screen to avoid fungals and to put himself in a great position not to get splashed by stuff like Banelings and Ultras, and wow, he crushed that.
Yeah, Ultras, oh man, Marauders beat down Ultras so easily. Unsieges tanks knowing that these Broodlords are coming with a Queen full of energy, so we'll be able to transfuse on them as well. But now he's just pulling back. He actually has 5 Ghosts coming and 4 Vikings at a time, because he has a lot of starports, 3 starports I think. So he's actually going to be well equipped to deal with this. He can even snipe the Infestors too, but, oh, big Fungal.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. I would have actually liked to see him try and fungal those medevacs. He could have done it, I think, but whatever the case, some damage done and traded. And, of course, he's going to have to trade pretty badly in this situation until he gets his Ghosts out and until he gets his Vikings out, because those Broodlords aren't going to be stoppable. But the problem with transitioning out from Ultra to Broodlord is very, very simple to explain. Your upgrade count sucks for Broodlords. It really does. You've got no armor upgrades, you've got no attack upgrades, and yes, the Broodlings are 3/3, which is great, but your initial hit isn't that effective.
It's not, and look at this now. Snipes going down onto the Broodlords. Welcome back to the future, to the past.
Yeah,
the
enjoy
present.
your say.
Oh man, look at this.
1.21 gigawatts is what's coming in right here on top of Life's Broodlords, and there is the GG. Well, there you go. And Jjakji controlled that game very nicely. That hidden expansion certainly helped Life, but Life was not able to really do enough damage to stop Jjakji. And that position around this Xel'Naga tower, you mentioned it was going to be important. I don't think any of us had any idea just how important and how well fortified it would be.
Yeah, it's very important to control, especially in these positions, spawning top left versus top right. Imagine if Life didn't have that hidden expansion, he would have been stuck on 3 bases for the entire game if Jjakji had played it out right. And that was his goal here. And by the time he actually scouted this 4th base, he's like, oh, whatever, just have it, because I know your main's mined out, I know your natural's mined out, you're only on 2 base, whatever, I'm just going to keep the containment going, which he did so well in this game. And even on the minimap at the end, he's got expansions in the bottom right, a million mules been landed too, so yeah. He actually has 4 orbital commands just in his main base, not including the natural and the 3rd base, so he actually is in a fantastic position for the rest of this game, even if he'd lost that fight there.
Man, I tell you, so many yellow vehicles down here by this expansion. Looks like New York City on a Monday morning. Good God. It's just scary, the amount of mules he had there, and his economy was just in such a great state. So, well played there by Jjakji. And some people say, for whatever reason, oh, Jjakji overrated, so on and so forth. But no, he played a masterful game of StarCraft 2 right there, and demonstrated a really great TvZ style. It's very safe, but very much based on taking great engagements with awesome positioning, which is something that Polt does very well too.
Yeah, it's all about position, dragging your opponent away with drops, and then just getting into this tight, locked position, which is unbreakable, which he did very, very well there. But the thing is, this is a best of 3, but if Life can't win with a hidden expansion against Jjakji and not knowing about it, then he actually may be in for a difficult time going into these next few games.
Yeah, he very well might be. Let's see if he can pull this back, or whether he'll end up getting 2-0'd here by Jjakji. We'll find out very shortly, folks. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Daybreak. Oh, we are frequent visitors. You know, we should have one of those loyalty cards for Daybreak. Would be a good idea, I feel. We could save so much on accommodation on this map. Whatever the case, we do have Jjakji right here. He is in the blue trunks playing Terran to the southwest. And then we have his opponent Life in the orange trunks playing Zerg to the northeast, who just suffered a fairly crushing loss there.
Yeah, he did. And if Jjakji plays the same, being a base behind, which is actually really sick, because that's like 300 gas per minute that he's not getting compared to his opponent. If that happens again and Life doesn't have that extra base, then he could actually just easily walk over this game. He did outplay his opponent a lot there, but again, at the same time, you have to maybe keep into consideration that Life was in bad positions, spawning on Taldra Malta against Jjakji there. Yeah,
he was in an awkward spot, and unfortunately, that ended up kind of being his downfall. Unfortunately for Life, this really is not the kind of map where you can hide an expansion easily.
No, it is not. Everything is pretty much out in the open here, especially because unlike the last game, we saw them both spawn at the top. This is not the case on this map, so we'll see how this is going to play out. I wouldn't be surprised if, once again, Jjakji doesn't take gas, but he actually is going to take it this time around. The reason why I didn't think, because if he's going to do it on Taldrim, he can do it here. But if he's going to take gas early on, he really wants to try to, keep that creep spread back, potentially even go in here with Hellions if he stays on that one factory. But there are other options for Jjakji to go even more aggressive, such as Hellion Marauder or Blue Flame Hellions or something along those lines.
Yeah, and one way or the other, he does want to try and deny creep spread to the 3rd, which is certainly not impossible, but you've got to get in there pretty early, and you've got to be very effective, and of course not get caught out and surrounded, because if the Zerg takes the 3rd base on this map and gets the creep spread there, they're in a solid position. If they're playing Ling Infesta, they can then respond very, very rapidly to any kind of attempt to take that 3rd base out.
Yes, they can, and I'm interested to see what Life is going to do. He is very much known for a Ling Infesta style of play, I didn't really know too much about him before the IronSquid, but I did check out a couple of his games, and pretty much is going to go Ling Infest every single time. Doesn't even go for Mulus at all, which kind of plays to the meta game where we are seeing Mulus being shifted out a lot more because people are just so much better against defending them at the highest level here. But
yeah.
We'll see. Jjakji, though, is scouting around with Marines, as you can see, trying to look for that Overlord, but is not going to find it, as unfortunately it's on the other side of the map, checking out your gas, Jjakji.
Yes, it's going to check out that gas, and it will see it right there, knows that it's there. Sometimes you will see that Overlord come across the map to position right around here, this kind of hydroponics dome, I suppose, which appears to have birds in it, which is curious. Yeah, there are actually birds inside that building. I had no idea.
That's a little bit weird.
Yeah, also I think the tree's upside down. This is quite weird.
This is a very weird map.
It's curious.
Welcome to Daybreak.
Welcome to Daybreak.
Let's have a look what's going on. So we do have Life out of gas now. Just has one in gas, just ticking away. Kind of gives him an option to be aggressive if need be. He can be like, alright, throw the Baling Nest down, and snaps his fingers and does it. But at the other time, it can be just a natural tick over for when he wants to go lair, for when he wants to throw down the evolution chambers too. It looks like Jjakji, Tech Lab on the barracks, pretty standard here. Whether he'll go for a Marauder, I doubt it. He can, but most likely just from Marine into Stim. And we do have those first two Hellions out.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary here for Jjakji. And to be fair, Jjakji is not known for being wacky in terms of his builds. He plays straight up, safe, and nothing wrong with that. That's really what got MVP to the position that he is in today. But unfortunately, now he is suffering as a result of injury. And, well, we saw his demise in Group B.
Yeah, we did, which is a big surprise, so still anything could happen within this group. Jjakji could fall down and lose everything here, but we do have 4 Hellions out. No more, well, actually, we are going to see 4 more Hellions, just a little bit of that little gap between the command center being finished and not, and he's going to continue with that. But nothing extra has been added on. He can throw down a 3rd command center if need be, but hold that thought, Lings come in and pick off an SCV on that natural, but won't really be able to do anything more than that.
Yeah, well, they killed 2 Marines as well, so it was a nice little run by there by Life. And unfortunately, Life really did not start spreading his creep at all, and is now going to be in an awkward spot, because by this point, you at least want to have started spreading your creep, because if these Hellions get into this position, good luck getting rid of them. It's going to require you to dedicate quite a lot in order to make that happen. It's going to delay your 3rd for so much as well.
Yeah, and he's trapped on 2 bases now, unless he gets a surround on those Hellions, which he was trying to do there, but didn't quite get it.
Failed.
Does have 1-1 coming, though. In the background, it looks like Jjakji now taking a second gas just before the factory finishes, which means he's going to be going for Medivacs pretty early here. Like, as soon as the starport gets on that reactor, and will produce 2x2. Stim near completion, 2 extra barracks coming, but looks like we are seeing a lot of Lings in production here. Life is trying to get around these Hellions.
Well, he gets us around on the right flank there, but even a couple extra shots off there. He is able to throw this back now, finally. But it took him a while, and it's delayed the creep spread to that 3rd. So, you're probably not going to see a drone go down there immediately to build a 3rd base. You want to start getting the creep spread there, because otherwise you just can't respond to aggression coming in.
And the starport now finishing up, a reactor next to the factory, so we'll be going straight into the double medivac there. And without the Baling Nest, I was going to say, if it doesn't come down, then he actually could just lose straight up to this little push, which is going to be Stim, Combat Shield. Does he have any Hellions left? Okay, so 3 Hellions as well with medivacs, which is actually very strong, even against 1-1 Lings. But we do have the Baling Nest finishing now. 3rd base going down here for Life, who is going to have a little bit more of map control, of course, now the Hellions are gone. But first 2 medivacs are on the way here. I guess Jjakji can now start to think about throwing down his 3rd command center very shortly. If not, then he has to do unbelievable amounts of aggression against a almost defensive now Life with this the Bailey speed coming out too.
Yeah, Bailey speed backed up by Infestation Pit, absolutely. Creep spread is now at least starting for Life, so he is going to spread down there eventually. But if Jjakji doesn't get aggressive very soon against that 3rd, the creep's going to get there, and holding that shouldn't be really any problem at all.
And it looks like Jjakji opting to load into medivacs rather than walk across all the way here. And I was trying to think about the cons and pros there, but there's not really much. If he's just going to go to the 3rd base, he could have just walked them. But the thing is that the Link scouts it anyway, so it's like no difference at all. Unless he's like, alright, there's 5 Marines and 2 medivacs. Well, no, that's not quite the case here.
No, it does also make it awkward to drop them down, so Life is not going to be fooled by a little trick like that. There's even actually a couple of Marines still in there as he wants to push towards this third, and the creep spread isn't there yet, which does make defending it awkward, as I mentioned earlier, and a lot of damage being inflicted here. He's got Hellions in the mix as well, which makes this awkward. Can he get that surround? Down goes a Queen, the surround comes in. Will it be enough to crush through this? The medevac's not really contributing to this at all. There's the pickup, and a Baneling detonation shuts that down. Great defense there by Life.
Yeah, really good defense there. Unfortunately for him, Bailing Speed didn't quite finish, so he took a bit more damage than he needed to, but
yeah,
that's fine. And it was a really nice pickup from Jjakji, who goes to the Xel'Naga Tower now. He's going to have to pick up again, which he does. And I love that Life is spreading creep on that potential third base there. It is really going to slow that down.
Great decision
for Jjakji, who is trying to get the third command center up at the same time, now working on upgrades and taking gases as he has to go to plan B, as that initial push did not work.
What I'm concerned about here, actually, is that Jjakji is not going for siege tech here, which means that any kind of big Baneling-based push from Life would be very dangerous.
Yeah, it could actually, but he is dedicating his gas to Infestors. If he'd chosen to go Banelings alone, maybe he could have done a bit of damage there, but there's always that risk that you don't know if siege mode is up or not.
Exactly,
and he just plays the safer route there. Taking a fourth base in the center as well, now working on 2-2, Infestors popping out, and he's actually in a very nice position because this third base is actually going to be delayed because of the creep spread too. But looking at that creep spread, also found a little drop here, which is of course going to be heading straight to the main base. But with the creep connected everywhere, Link Speed and Infestors out, as long as he spots it as it comes in, he could easily push this back.
Yeah, he should be able to shut that down. There's a couple of lanes there. He's going to need a couple more, but the drops it will probably land, and then he'll have to respond to it immediately. He's not going to see it coming in. There are sadly no overlords there, but he's actually dropped down here. I think he was just looking to see whether or not there's actually a fourth base, and, well, there isn't. He's going to leave one Marine there to spot the timing of that fourth base, but in reality, the fourth has actually gone to the front here.
Yeah, here the usual is in the bottom right, and I'll explain that in a short second, but there are two drops in the main base and on the third, and it looks like Life is out of position.
Yeah, we've got a number of links to shut this one down here, but this one on the third is what's done real damage. It's killed the Queen. It has killed a number of drones. Ooh, a nice fungal lands down there. Can he get a second one? He doesn't have the energy for it, sadly, but that forces a pickup. Even focusing there on the extractor, but that's now being shut down. 7 workers killed so far here by Jjakji, and quite a bit of mining time delayed. Plus, bringing that Queen down has actually hurt Life pretty hard. He's not the kind of guy that builds spare Queens.
No, I mean, I think he had one for creep spread, but that was actually then sent to the third base.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
unfortunately not. But as I was saying, the base in the bottom right is usually the base to go to, not the center one, because if a Terran just controls Xel'Naga Tower, bunny hops across the destructible debris in the center, then goes to the other one, he can get a very strong position here, which I'm sure Jjakji will try to do later on. But we do see the Hive now finished up. The Spire, badly timed here, is only at halfway through. He should have gone down a little bit earlier there, but was distracted by these drops, of course. That means the Broodlords are going to be a little bit slower here out.
There's a fungal growth to lock that down, but again, he can't kill off everything. At least he's able to deny the drop by the use of that, but there we go. The rest of the Infestors have come down here. He's going to drop down just to do a little bit more damage, but that gets cleaned up nicely there by Life. Also, Life is building the Adrenal Glands upgrade this time around.
Yeah, that's really good because that helps a lot. Jjakji does know about the Hive, and he hasn't built a fourth command center soon, so I guess he's just going to go with his 2-2. Start moving out now, clear the force up, and after he pushes with this 2-2, I guess he should be expanding behind himself, as his main base is about to be mined out here, but he is also dropping in the main base. He knows he's playing up against the Hive, that he should have been done now. He's trying to get there before Broodlords. If he sits in the center here and just sits back, he actually could be in a bad position unless he starts that Ghost Academy, which is missing so far.
Yes, it is, and here comes the drop, but we've got a couple of Banelings ready to clean that up. Nicely landed there by Life. He's able to smash through that as the Marines are dropping, so doesn't get the pickup and stops that drop before it really does anything whatsoever. Life playing very well this time around. Army supply count, though, still in favor of Jjakji. Upgrade count in favor of Life, and when he hits +3/+3 with Adrenal Glands, whereas his opponent is only just finishing up 2-2, he could overwhelm this. He really could. Just a pure Link style would be enough to overwhelm this position in the center.
Yeah, and it's a little bit bad that Jjakji doesn't know what he's playing against, whether it be Ultralists or Broodlords, and it looks like he's preparing for Ultralists as he's got additional barracks coming down. I wouldn't be surprised if they were all Tech Labs and that they were all going to be Marauders, and it is going to be Broodlords, of course, and he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have second, third starport. He doesn't have a Ghost Academy yet. Okay, he just throws down the second and third starport.
Yeah, he just got the scan, so...
Oh, okay, very, very late, though.
Yeah, he scanned the main, and then he scanned the natural after not learning anything. So now he knows what's coming in, but Life has a great opportunity to do severe damage in the process with 6 Broodlords already coming in, massively upgraded Zerglings, a lot of Infestors. This couldn't be any better for him, but... the one thing that Jjakji's got in his favor is, once again, his positioning and his positional engagements are very strong. So if Jjakji positions properly, then he may be able to throw this back.
I'm surprised that Life hasn't actually expanded in the bottom right yet and taken a 5th base. He's kind of working with limited amounts of gas, as you can see by the resource in the top right. He can't really replenish this army, more than a lot of Banelings now trying to assault down, knowing that the reaction is late here from Jjakji, as he didn't find out about that earlier enough.
Yeah, that's true. And now he can do all sorts of wonderful things, taking a little bit of damage on that Broodlord here and there, but the position for Jjakji has just collapsed immediately. He knows that he can't sit here. He doesn't have an answer to those Broodlords, so now he's most likely just going to have to give up this 4th base.
Oh, this is really bad. He's lost position, the Sentinel's lost the 4th base, and now he's back to 3 tanks. Oh my god, tanks here. Oh my god, he's using so many lings.
Jesus, wow, how many tanks? But that was unbelievable. There's so many tanks.
Yeah, a lot lost from both guys there.
Yeah.
Tanks, all the tanks are gone. All the Ling and Banelings gone, and there is a drop in the main base here and on the 3rd base. It was cleaned up on the 3rd base, but still going on in the main here. But he's losing to these Broodlords and Infestors.
Yeah, that was weird. He just had rank upon rank of tanks. It's just like, I can't do anything against the Broodlords, but I can blow up everything that's on the ground. It did keep the Infestors alive, though, so these Infested Terrans are having a field day, and the Broodlords, of course, don't have an answer, and Jjakji getting overrun here, but he is building another army in the middle of his main, and has actually managed to get some Vikings out here as well. Infested Terrans brought down and instantly annihilated by these upgraded Marines, and that was a very weird engagement, and this is also turning into a very weird fight.
Yeah, this is, and he's wasting a lot of energy on Infested Terrans. They're getting shot down by these Marines, and Vikings are being left over to clear out the Broodlords here, so it looks like he may be able to hold this back eventually, but he is taking significant losses. He does have a bunch of command centers in his main base, though, so he can bounce back after this.
Yeah, he can. That's the thing. You don't want to underestimate the ability of a Terran player to get back on their feet after this kind of damage. And then we've got this weird funky Ultralist transition, which is being thrown in once again here by Life. And I have to wonder if he expects that at all. And, ooh, Orbital Command going to go down as well by the looks of it, taking fire from that single Corruptor. A couple of Infested Terrans could be dropped to finish that off, just to make sure. But I think that Corruptor's going to actually get the kill anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the Ultralist switch is actually really, really good because he killed all the barracks with all the tech labs on the natural area or just in front of the natural, and then he also knows that the Viking count's pretty high, 3 starports are out, so switching over is really nice here, and unfortunately for Jjakji, he hasn't had 3-3 research from the engineering bays, so his Marines are only at 2-2. The Ultralists are fully upgraded. Well, as I say that, I didn't even know that the plating wasn't done, but once that is done, they will be fully upgraded. And that's obviously going to be really good for the Ultras. They're just going to smash through everything. But the problem is for Life is that he hasn't taken a 5th base yet, which is really, really weird. He actually has to do that. Otherwise, he won't be able to establish another army after this. This will be like the only army he can use for the entire of the game long.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why he's doing that, but that said, having this army seems like he might just be able to win the game with it anyway. As you pointed out, there's no Marauders, the upgrade count is terrible, badass plating is about halfway through completion here, and once it goes in there, I can only imagine that Life is going to just charge at his opponent and try and annihilate him, and he may be able to do just that.
Yeah, and it is an orbital command in the center too, so it's not a planetary, it's going to be a lot less fortified. And he does know about it too, so he's going to start moving forward now, having seen the orbital. He's like, oh, that's going to be really soft and easily broken down. But now that additional barracks have been added on, which will be for the tech lab barracks again, but that's a long way before they're ready.
Yeah, without question. No Marauders to deal with that many Ultras that now have their badass plating upgrade, and there's a bunch of Banelings coming in as well, so this is going to get messy, and oh man, I tell you, it would be a bad day in New York if that were to happen. Ling's overrunning the rank upon rank of yellow mineral taxis, and here we go. Life is just going to go right for the third base. He brings the Banelings in as well, which sadly all detonate on the tanks, but the Ultras are following up, and half the SCV train gets derailed by a Baneling interception, and Life all over the place here.
Yeah, and Jjakji did deny the expansion in the bottom right here, but like you said, he doesn't have enough to actually beat down this army by the looks of it. He is in really good position with these tanks at +1, but with the fully upgraded Ultralisk, oh my god, the Swarm is here.
The Swarm is indeed here, and it's here to stay. It looks like they did bring their loyalty card, and Life is getting annihilated as these Ultralisks are pretty much unstoppable like bullets. What? No. Don't be ridiculous. You see, this Ultra just doesn't care. It does not give a single. And now Life going for it with all of these Ultralisks overrunning the natural expansion of Jjakji, who goes down to around 100 supply, getting brutalized at this stage. Admittedly, still, the problem is if Life can't end it right about now, then Jjakji will be able to get the Marauders back up, and he doesn't have that 5th base. So, as you said, that's his army.
New Banelings are being morphed, new Lings are here, and Infestors are coming as well, so he's going to go for wave number 2, and I don't think there's going to be a wave number 3 and 4, so this has to be the last one.
Yeah, I would think so, and Jjakji's really just got Marines to beat this down. Nope. I don't think that's going to happen. Life has got some fairly badly mauled Ultralisks, but he's bringing in a couple of fresh ones from the back, and some Infestors. Not a huge amount of energy, but Lings and Baneling as well, so he'll deny this 3rd here, and then may be able to assault the natural. He can pick his direction to do that, and really, Jjakji does not have a huge amount of tanks. He does at least have some Marauders there, and is able to pick off some of the badly wounded Ultralisks, but the follow-up with the Lings from the back, and Banelings coming in as well. Great split right there by Jjakji, but you ain't going to split against that. There's the GG, and Life, once again, fights back against a Code S champion Terran.
Yeah, and like we said, you know, he's not even in Code A at the moment, having just lost that recently. So he's showing that he can keep up with a Code S player, and he's doing very well in that second game there, especially because he didn't have that hidden expansion this time around and managed to still do okay. But now he's going to have to go onto his... onto the losers map, which of course is going to be Jjakji's map, so he has to go to his opponent's map here, which may prove a little bit too difficult for him, but at the same time, if he pulls a win here, that's definitely going to be another upset, just like the Mana versus MMA.
Yes it will. I love upsets. Upsets are my favourite.
They're fun, man.
Yep. That they are. I'm just looking at these destroyed starports here. A wonderful freeze frame of the starport falling to pieces. Zerg players will be rejoicing in the fires from that starport that night, roasting marine heads on top of them, just like marshmallows impaled on the Kaiser blades of an Ultralisk. It's almost poetic. Or perhaps disturbing. But we've got the 3rd map coming up very shortly, folks. And Life has put on a great display on Daybreak. Can he do that again against Jjakji on his chosen map? We'll find out. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 3 and Cloud Kingdom. Right here from New Star Hoso's Jjakji. He is in the blue trunks and he is playing Terran to the southwest. Versus his opponent, it is Xenix Life. Currently 1 game apiece in this best of 3 series. He is in the orange and he is playing Zerg to the northeast.
I always feel bad when I play Zerg on this map in the top right, because the eggs are on the other side and they have a longer distance to walk. So you actually have a bit of a slower income rate, but... small differences, man. Small differences.
Imbalance.
Imbalance, man. Eggs are spawning on the wrong side. Imbalance. Life, though, it would be incredible if he manages to pick the win here. Cloud Kingdom, definitely a map that he can do it on. There's, of course, a lot of run-bys here. A lot of areas to flank from, to counter-attack into. So we'll see what kind of aggression... and this map will play towards his style of Ling Infestor. So definitely looking forward to this to see how he's going to play it out. On the other hand, Jjakji has to be so careful, knowing that that style may be deployed against him. Siege tanks on the higher ground, bunkers everywhere. We'll see how this is going to play out.
Yes, and both of these guys are equally matched quite nicely there. We did have an interesting game from Life, who was able to really do a huge amount of damage, and didn't resort to any gimmicks. No hidden base, nothing like that. And also, more importantly, perhaps didn't allow Jjakji to get into those amazing positions that he got on Tal'Darim, which is what really hurt the army of Life.
Yeah, it did. but this map position play is more difficult to sustain. Unless you play mech. Mech is easier to do it because you can basically bunny hop from Xel'Naga Tower to Xel'Naga Tower towards the third or natural location. But granted, this is an older patch. Mech isn't that used or wasn't used back then when this replay was made and created. Maybe more so in the more recent days we would have seen that. But Jjakji will be playing a very similar style to just the Marine tank into Ghost, Viking, and so on.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to deviate all that much. I'd be surprised if he did. Takes a refinery, so he may decide just to go through to Reactor Hellion Expand once again. Nothing really wrong with that either, because this map does require quite a bit of creep spread to get to your natural third base, so you can deny it quite easily. There's also escape paths as well for those Hellions. There's actually 2 ways they can go there.
And I would really love for Jjakji to do something along the lines of Blue Flame Hellion pushes or Hellion Marauder pushes, because the Overlords on this map, they really can't get to scout your main base, so theoretically in the bottom left of this map, it's unscoutable until an Overseer is out there. So he could very easily just hide a second factory or Tech Lab Marauders on the side of the base, so he could actually pick up a very easy win, knowing the way that Life has been playing, which is just Lings, and he doesn't get a Baling Nest until 9 minutes or so, ready to build Baling Speed straight away. So there is that opportunity pre-9 minutes for him to take up a very swift win here, and we'll have to see that, because he has now expanded. Whether he'll decide to add on anything instead of just a regular Marine and Stim after the Barracks is lifted up and switch, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. So far, what we've seen from Jjakji in this tournament has been very straight-up safe play. Variation doesn't seem to be one of the things that he is all that big on, but there's nothing wrong with being a safe and stable player. If you play one style very, very well in a particular matchup, then you are difficult to deal with, but you can also be exploited by something a little bit funky, which Life has been known to do.
Sucks to be this SCV, who has been chased away from building the command center, has to mineral trick back as the Hellions pop out, but that's a good 20-30 seconds there that command center is going to be delayed, and that's all because Marines were out of position looking for Overlords in the bottom right.
Yeah, that's what happens if you spend too long looking up to the sky. You do not see what is on the ground. Not a very good idea, and that's almost philosophical. We've got 7 more drones coming out for Life, so just pumping away there, knowing that his opponent will eventually bring the Hellions in. He's going to have to shut them down, but he doesn't have to worry about that quite yet. No creep spread really for Life again, but he has brought the 3rd Queen out much faster than he did on Daybreak, so he's going to just edge it forward a little bit. Put a creep tumor there, edge it forward, give him an opportunity maybe to place down 2 creep tumors. Maybe he gets one of them down, whereas the other one gets shut down. All sorts of options if you have a 3rd queen.
And 3rd command center going down, and SCV gets chased away by Lings again. As these Lings pick up the 2 Marine kills, Hyans have to come back to actually save the command center. And not a good start so far for Jjakji. Everything's been revealed here, and because of that command center being a little bit delayed there, it kind of had a chink in the build where he had to use another supply depot, and you know, that's 100 minerals taken away. He got a little bit supply blocked as well. Now his strategy and build has been revealed. The Roach Warren and Baling Nest goes down immediately, so he's going to be pressuring this, knowing that there's actually no tech aside from Hellion and basic Marines here to deny or actually help prevent that. And oh my god, a Ling on the 3rd base again.
Good lord, you weren't kidding about run-bys on this map, man. You seriously weren't. Just single Ling coming in there. And the creep tumor doesn't go down either. It was quite unfortunate. Jjakji could have maybe picked that off, and that would have helped a lot. But now, I mean, these Hellions are sitting on creep. This is the last place they want to be.
Yeah, they could actually... I don't think there's enough for them to get surrounded completely right now, but if a few more Lings come out, or Roaches, then they will, yeah. But the Roach Warren is now finished. Lair is done. He's getting Roach speed as well, so it's going to be a very heavy Roach Baling attack here. And I don't think he'll commit too heavily to the Roaches, but he will go for it initially and then switch over. But
guess whose command center isn't going up again?
Yeah,
good God.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, actually, he was at least able to hold up with the Hellion, but that is so delayed as a result of that. Life playing so well at the moment with these constant run-bys. He actually has a large Link force now. He's going to flank all the way around. Could get into the natural. Actually, it could crush the natural. There's nothing there.
Yeah, there's no units there. Now Roach is about to pop out too, and they can crush the Hellions, and Life is just running around Jjakji, who's just making so many mistakes. A Ling on the 3rd base again is now going to pick up that SCV, potentially a Mule if the other Lings come from the Xel'Naga Tower, but this is really, really bad so far for Jjakji. But if he manages to hold his 3rd base, and everything, he's actually doing okay because there's no evolution chambers, there's no future plan of upgrades. There's literally just roach speed and banelings coming at him.
Banelings, delicious. Well, they're not going to be able to do too much on this third. I'm actually kind of surprised that he's morphing banelings down there. He knows that there's no mineral line there to speak of, so he's actually morphing 11 banelings total. He might even just try and bust that, but of course a lift would prevent that from happening. But there's this big roach push as well, so he's going to combine roaches with banelings in a very potent combination, and Jjakji does not have a lot to hold it either. He's got a lot of Hellions, but that's not going to do much against roaches at all.
He lifts his third base up and plants it down in his main, has bunkers building. We'll have a tank on the high ground as well, and you know, he's going to come crashing through here and actually still could lose a lot of SCVs here.
Yeah, he very well could, and the roach is getting very, very close as well. He wants to try and get up the ramp, and he's able to do so. The baneling is going to get target fired down here, but there is only a single tank there, and actually, it doesn't even get a single baneling in there, so Life did kind of screw that up, honestly. Jjakji was able to defend that quite nicely. There are still roaches now moving into the main base, but those banelings were basically useless.
But he has killed 30 SCVs throughout this game now, including a few earlier on. Now, well, 29, 30 now. And the Spire's coming down as a follow-up to this, knowing that there's no reactors down on the barracks, so he can't have a lot of Marines. He's killed a lot of Marines here as well. But the third base, which actually is going to go down with a tank right behind it, and that's what I talked about pre-game here, was that tanks on the higher ground here are very, very nice to help defend that third base.
Yes, they are, and run-by shouldn't really be too much of a problem. It also means you don't need to get a planetary fortress there, so that's much better. You can just get your orbital command, and everything will be absolutely wonderful from there on in for you. A couple of roaches just legging it after this Hellion, which is a fairly futile move, but even with Jjakji holding on quite nicely there, and all the banelings being targeted down, the amount of economic damage was substantial. So Jjakji is playing a lot of catch-up versus a 3-base Zerg who has a lot of potential for harassing this third base.
And Roach is pushed away from it, but the really annoying thing here for Jjakji is that he's about to run into Spire, which is a very nice decision here from Life because he hasn't got the double evolution chambers. He doesn't want to play Ling Infestor now in this scenario of the game where tanks are on the higher ground. This third base will never ever get touched by Ling Infestor. But Mutalist, on the other hand, there's no turrets anywhere. There's combat shields now finishing, but there's no upgrades either. There's no engineering base, so he's going to be able to do a lot of damage with this initial Mutalist push.
Yeah, Jjakji has no idea about this whatsoever. He's now going to finally push out to at least try and get a hold of this Zelnaga tower and throw his opponent back as much as possible, get the roaches out of the way, but the Mutapack is on its way now, and he's even got +1 coming in for it. He's going to add another Mutalisk on there, and well, there are 5 Marines, which is nowhere near enough to stop that many Mutalisks, and this could end up being costly. We saw a double expand here by Life, knowing perhaps that one goes down, but at least he gets a second one, and this push just coming in, and actually Life doesn't really have a lot to deal with it yet. He's going to have to move in there, but it's the Mutalisks that we should really be watching, because they've now cleaned up the tank count, and they're going to make a little bit of a mess here of this mineral line.
But Marines do come in to help defend it, but he's about to lose his third base. Banelings have to connect here. Is Jjakji even watching?
Oh, I don't even know. But actually, the Banelings end up landing on the Hellions, and he isn't able to clean that force up. Admittedly, there's not a lot of firepower left. Hellions won't kill that all that quickly, and we go back to this Mutalisk pack that comes in, but gets caught out in the third base, gets flanked around, but it's not quite enough, and the missile turret goes up just, but is going to go down immediately, and now there's finally a Viking there and Marines on the ground to send that away, but damage has been done here.
Yeah, 48 SCVs throughout this game have been picked up. The Medivacs are going to be targeted down next, and he really, really does need to drone up to that third base, though. Really get the gas in because he's still fighting an uphill battle. Even though killing almost 50 SCVs in this game, the SCV count's still at 39 and 3 mules being planted down, so it's still difficult for Life. It's not over yet.
No, it is not, and he's got to be very, very careful with how he engages here. Picks off a few SCVs, which is always nice, denies some gas income, an ideal thing to do right there. He may even decide that, well, I don't really care so much about these Mutalisks, but he's got an opportunity to maybe poke at the back here. It's a little bit awkward, unfortunately, because of how close the natural is to the edge of the map, so you can very easily deny that with turrets, and he gets trapped. Oh, a nice arc of fire there by Jjakji, which was probably going to end up happening. The Viking takes a lot of fire, but the Muta count is depleted now to the point of absolute uselessness. Life, on the other hand, has been building up a large force of roaches and Ling things in the meantime.
Yeah, he's not actually going to drone at all to that third base. He's just going to launch everything now in one final ditched attempt to kill the third base and destroy the potentially spread out army of Jjakji, but he's not that spread out. Only units on the third, and naturally sends Muladin as a bit of a sacrificial scout, but he now knows that's a weak-ish area, but it's, there's still a lot of tanks there. There isn't one on the higher ground now, and there's Marines with Stim. No upgrades yet. Oh my god, he just lifted up 8 Marines into a Medivac. And Medivac missing now from the fight. Oh my god, he's going to go for it. Will he be able to bust through? If he doesn't bust this third base down, Jjakji's going to win.
There is a sensor tower, which means that he sees this coming, and he's actually now moving back to intercept that. Thank God for the sensor tower, but here it comes, and Life gets in there, and will he be able to get a good Baneling connection? Great target fire here by Jjakji. The Banelings are annihilated. A couple more come in, but actually a wedge formation by Jjakji formed with those Marines. The Roaches come in to try and crush through the tanks. He's able to do so, but he doesn't have many Roaches left here.
And, well, the reinforcements are coming in, but there's a tank on the high ground now. Oh, no, the SCVs again.
Nice hit by the Banelings there, and Jjakji takes yet more economic damage. He's still on 46 SCVs, though. He's lost 67 workers, and there's the GG. How did Jjakji live through that?
Very, very difficult living through that, that was for sure, but he managed to survive. No follow-up plan here from Life, that was it, all or nothing. No evolution chambers, no upgrades, a low drone count, and he's like, oh, god damn it. And he invested a lot. In terms of units lost there. He lost so much just throwing and throwing and throwing to try and get damage done. But Jjakji manages to hold on to what it seemed to be, that early third command center scouted before it even went up. And Life knew what he wanted to do from the start of this game, but he just couldn't get it done. It was so close in the end there.
How? It's unbelievable, really. It's a big testament to the skill of Jjakji there and his great defense and great macro as well. Not missing anything, always keeping his income low, always making sure that he's got enough production facilities and is building SCVs all the time. 67 workers killed. It's an incredible amount, and yet still Life can't kill him. That must be so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, it must have been so frustrating to play in too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh well, I guess that's not so good for Life now. I mean, he did pick up a win against Stephano, but he did lose against MMA now. So Life currently 1 win and 2 losses. Really has to just bank on his last game, which is going to be against Mana, so it's still a potential win for him there. But Jjakji now turning things around, of course losing probably against the hardest game in his group against MMA on day 1 of this Group C, but now picks up his second game, and now will be playing in his final game, and our final game of the day, against Mousesports Mana.
The foreign Terran sniper. He loves to just chomp down on Terrans in the morning. He's already munched his way through MMA. Can he defeat Jjakji? Jjakji, a more passive player, I feel, than MMA. A style that may play into the hands of Mana, or alternatively may lead to some very long macro games, and once again, strong positional play from Jjakji that could end up catching Mana out. Let's see if Mana can overcome Jjakji or whether he will drop his series. It's a must-win, really, for Mana and Jjakji as well, having also dropped 1 series in this tournament so far. So neither of these guys can afford to let this one slide. We'll find out who will prevail after this break.